Why hello everyone. Today's video is going to be a little bit different to what I usually do. We're going to be looking at the old Caterham Formula 1 factory that I visited not that long ago. I'm going to be comparing it basically to what it looks like now. So the footage that you are seeing was recorded on my phone. I must admit I didn't record that much on my phone, but the stuff I did, I thought I might turn it into a video. So this is us walking up to the old factory. Obviously vandals have been in and smashed it up for some unknown reason and graffitied. I'm pointing out a camera there, which I don't even know if they work anymore, but we avoided it anyway, so you could do the same if you wanted to go, but just don't smash it up because there is security here. If you do trigger off some of the cameras, they do come, so you have to be careful. But we managed to stay for a little bit before we had to go. So yeah, now we're walking down the the main entrance. Well, the main entrance is in front of us, I should say. This is like the entrance from the reception area, which is in front of us, and then behind us is where the factory actually is itself, where they made the cars, where they had the cars in the race bays, so on and so on. At the minute, I'm showing you the tiles, because on the floor, the white stuff that we're walking on was actually ceiling tiles, but scrappers have been in to rob the wires for all of their copper because they're jippos and they've got nothing better to do than come to a place like this and steal the copper. I don't actually know why this place isn't more secure, like with security there all the time, being that this is valued at quite a high building. Quite a lot of money this building's worth, but unfortunately, I think it's getting to the sort of state now where it's just going to have to be knocked down really, because there's like mould growing on some of the walls. Yeah, it's not a very good sight, I must admit. But one thing I must say is that some rooms I actually thought were better than others. I just noticed over there as well, there's a door that's open, which I've never seen in anyone else's videos, and I've only just noticed it now, so very clearly wasn't paying much attention. So in there is the kitchens, where the likes of Heikki Kovalainen, who else would have been? Vitaly Petrov, Marcus Ericsson, Kumiko Asha would have had their dinner. I suppose they would have got it from there. But now you're looking at footage from the actual Caterham themselves, of what it used to look like, compared to what it looks like now. This was actually when they moved into the factory in 2012. So you may notice stuff like the green Union Jack flag stickers on the windows are not there. That's because they'd literally just moved in. And you might notice that this area is slightly different as well. That's because they altered it whilst they were there. So yeah, it's a bit sad really. I don't actually know how long they were here for. They moved in 2012, so I'm guessing the team would have fully been here 12, 13, 14, so they probably wouldn't have been here for about at least 2 years, and then ran out of money, and now it looks like this, all smashed up. Not the best, I must admit. To the right hand side, you could see then there was a little glass room that was like their trophy room, which weirdly enough did actually have some trophies in. I don't know what they were to do with, because the there's no trophies in it now, but in videos that you can watch on YouTube, they did have trophies in them, but obviously Caterham never finished on the podium. In fact, Caterham never scored any points, so I don't quite know what them trophies were for, but they were in there. There you go, this room on the right. Oh, good camera work, me. This room on the right here. That was their trophy room for some reason. Now, there's a door I've just walked by. In fact, I walked by 2 doors that I didn't even realise were there when we actually walked around. So yeah, walking down the... I want to call it like a boulevard, but I don't actually know if that's the proper name for it. As you can see, this is where the scrappers have been down, ripped all down the roof tiles, cut all the wiring because they're horrible. And if anyone wondering, there's no electricity to this building anymore for that sole reason that people were cutting live wires. Because why the hell would you not cut a live wire which has like 240 volts going through it? I do not know. But yeah, no power. And there's actually houses surrounding the factory that unfortunately are having to be powered by generators because, well, it's been ruined. They haven't got no power. So that's really shit. So we're a little bit further down the corridor now. We went to the right, and now this is the old supercomputer powered by Dell and Intel. All gone, all smashed up. Oh, that was obviously sold, I'm guessing, auction. But this is it here. This is where all the data would have been for the cars coming to and from the factory to the track and back. But we're going to move on now to the Autoclave section. So Faro, I believe, are a 3D print, well, like a 3D printing company. So I don't know whether they would have had anything to do with the wind tunnel models, but the wind tunnel models are on the other side of the factory, so I don't quite know. But this would have been the autoclaves, and behind me is where they actually would have made the carbon parts and then vacuumed them, put them in the ovens, and yeah, they would have cooked them in the ovens, took them out, and voila, you have yourself a carbon fibre part. But yeah, got leaves in it. There's a bit of a chair there. There's brushes everywhere, so if you wanted to, you could come here and clean it up. But yeah, I'm actually surprised that that door's up a little bit. So these are the boxes, obviously, from the auction they had. Yeah, the door, big door behind us. I'm actually surprised that's open, to be honest with you. I was half expecting it to be fully locked down, but it sort of wasn't. It's like at this point they've sort of just said, yeah, we're just going to leave it as it is. So carry on walking. Another room to our right there that had a little pin code on it. I might come back here again and do an explore without me doing a voiceover, so you guys can get the full-on experience. But I thought I'd do this one just to show you the now and what it used to look like. And this is what it used to look like, nice and clean. You can see the autoclaves here, and that room, this is the one I was on about, that's where they would have made the carbon fibre parts. And this is what it looks like now. All lights turned off, no power, all ruined. To be honest, a team could have gone here, but a team like Haas could have gone here, really. But Haas get all their parts done by Dallara, don't they? So what's the point? I don't think they would have made chassis and stuff here. But I don't really know what Haas do, to be honest with you. I don't know whether they have like all their wings and stuff and little aero bits like wing mirrors and whatever. I don't know if they outsource them as well. But yeah, this probably would have been a decent factory for Haas, being that Caterham left in 2014, and then the auctions were 15 and 16. So I suppose Haas could have been in 16, I'm not too sure. Up there, as I pointed out on the video, that is where the design offices are. To our left is where the race bays are. And to be honest with you, it's a really big factory. So yeah, this is the paint booth. This is where we just were, where the alien is on the wall now. Very, very big paint booth. Well, to be honest, it's not the biggest I've seen, but it is. It's obviously big enough for what they needed it for. Now down here, I'm not too sure what was actually down here because I can't find any videos or any info what was down at this part of the factory. But yeah, it's been ruined as per usual. I'll show you in a minute. People have been down here ripping the metal girders off the walls yet again to get the copper out of the wires, because how desperate are you? I do not know. But yeah, the floor looks like someone's had a turd all over it. Some parts are really dark in here, because there's no sunlight coming through the roof. Yeah, so some parts were like really dark. You wouldn't be able to see where you're going if you turn the torch off. A door's locked there, so something would have been in there that needed to be secured, secret. So we carry on walking, and now we'll go into the race bays. I found a calendar here, as you can see. Well, it's only half the calendar. It's got your races like Bahrain, China, Spain, Canada, Italy, UK, Russia, USA, and as I'm pointing out there, Brazil. But unfortunately, the team never got to Brazil because they ran out of money. But then they did return to Abu Dhabi through crowdfunding, which I suppose you could say is quite cool. But at the same time, it shows what a dire state the team are in at that point. Yeah, so this is a marble slab, essentially. It's milled flat, so obviously the engineers can put the car on it and get the suspension dead on, perfect, flat, on a flat level ground. So the sticker on the side of it, it was in the auction, but I'm guessing nobody bought it because it's still in the ground. So this is another bit of a calendar that we found. That one was more full than the one that I found. There's a bit of an exhaust extractor there. Now this block, this is what they would have used for some of the carbon moulds. So they'd make a shape out of that. So say if you make a shape of a dog out of that, right? You then put a mould over the top of that to get the it's really hard to explain. You can make that block into a dog. You then put stuff around that dog to make a mould. Then you have the mould, and then you can put your carbon inside, and then you have a carbon fibre dog, if that makes sense. Obviously, Caterham would have been using it for Formula 1 cars, but that was just me explaining how it works. So yeah, race bays, with all the toolboxes and stuff, which I imagine was all sold on because they probably would have just been left in the factory and then robbed after. So yeah, people, happy faces, working at Caterham on the 2012 cars. These are, so these would have been the CTO ones. With Heikki Vitali's car. It's quite a big factory really for the. It was quite a small team, so quite a big factory. It would have been nice to know what Caterham could have done if they didn't go bust. Because obviously in 2014, Manor scored a point, so I don't know how long it would have been before Caterham did. Because they did actually design a 2015 car, but it was obviously never raced. Well, it was never built, in fact. They had a wind tunnel model, and they did have a mould for a chassis, but it never materialised. And God knows who's got the 2015 like mould version thing of it, because it's hard to try and find this stuff out. So yeah, we are in the design office now. Which you're up these stairs. You've just seen it. So yeah, this is what it used to look like. All of the designers busy at work here, designing your green racing machines. This room's quite big. So now we're going into the GP2 section of the factory. Bit of a blurry photo. That was mine, bad. Because if I turned the light off in that room, you couldn't even see what I was doing. So on the ground here, we have a pit stop practice area for the GP2 cars. Because Caterham did actually own a GP2 team, which then turned into Status Grand Prix, I believe it is. Now here, I actually think this is the Lotus 2010 pit wall, because I don't think Lotus ever had a GP2 pit wall team. Now that is actually instructions for a Cosworth or something, the Cosworth Formula 1 engine. Now this is an outside area where the team used to store stuff for the flyaway races, and as you can see in a minute, that pigeon just flew into a wall. As you can see in a minute, this was last used for the Japan 2014 race, so sea freight race. They would have used. This is where the sea freight was kept for the flyaway races, and this is what the jig, the 7-poster rig, I believe it is called. This is what that looks like now. But I'm going to leave you with an actual engineer who knows what he's talking about to explain what the rig does. So if you did like this type of video, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys hopefully for another video. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Over in the depths of R&D, gadgets and contraptions being tried and tested to their max. This is the 7-post rig. Buried under the floor, these cables and sensors will soon be alive, breathing and collecting valuable data when the car is connected. Elliot Dason-Barber heads up the team.
Here we are in the rig test lab with one of our most important employees, Roger, the test driver. So he's the test driver of our 7-post rig car, and he's been pretty busy for the last week as we've built up to our next event. So we've been in the race base today, and we've been working on getting the setup of the car right. So you'd have seen the car on the flat patch, and then Roger has been helping to get the car weight correct. So he's very, very important at being able to achieve that. So he's a consistent weight, and a little bit heavier than the race drivers, but he's close enough for what we need to do to get it right. So then we've brought the car back into the rig room here. We've craned the car onto the rig using our overhead gantry crane, and it's vital for us to use this rig because it helps us in a number of ways, primarily to correlate our models for doing ride simulation and also for doing damper and spring setup. But it also helps us with doing some real test work that we can then carry over to the track in the next coming weeks. Roger is now going to be doing some simulations of Silverstone for us, and we're going to be working on the setup of the car and just trying to improve the damper settings and the spring settings so that that's all correct, or as close as we can be for when the guys get to the next race. So it's a starting point for them. We're not saying it's optimized, but it gives us some ideas. We can try out some different ideas. We can try out some different combinations of damping and some other little tricks that we want to try in that event. And as I say, Roger is helping us do that.